Another Thursday has come around like a freight train and leveled me into saying, oh my gosh, I got a show today. Excuse me. There we go. Hey, so it is Thursday, and good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. You have found ADRAMADA, another Dave Rush Ask Me Anything digital alchemy, and that is getting ready to change. It'll be a new digital thing that starts with A. I forgot what it is right now. Hey, come for the shirt, stay for the news and the projects and the interviews and whatever it is. I am the aforementioned host, Dave Rush, also known as Commodore ADRAMADA. And you are the wind in the sails of our little weekly get-together. You are the ADRAMADA Armada. Oh. So, we're here every week, every Thursday, at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time, because we like tech. I love it. I research it. I play with it. Man, I can't wait to tell you what I did about it 24 hours ago. Goodness gracious. It's been such a busy week. So this show is devoted to collecting and disseminating information on technology and its uses. And in particular, we're interested in how the advancement of technology impacts our daily and long-term lives. I watched a panel discussion today, 6 or 8 people discussing the impact of AI. There were neuroscientists in there and coders and sociologists and data science. It was amazing. In 8 people, there are 9 different takes. Obviously, there was some get together, but there are very interesting interpretations of what's going on, and to scale that up to the people who do this every day, and these are those people, to the many people who do this every day. There's more questions than answers, folks. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Topics are wide-ranging. We celebrate technology from electric cars to electric guitars, music and movies. We got to talk movies today. The synergy of energy, booting to computing, Linux to ethics, the chase to space, cyber to fiber, security to electricity, Raspberry Pi to Li-Fi and AI. And we're not afraid to delve into social topics, including religion, sex, politics. That's it. Not the 4th thing. I'm going to take that out of my template. So today is Thursday, March 7th, 2024, if you are watching this later on archive, as so many people do. Today is noteworthy. I haven't done this in a while. I haven't put an actual number on it. I probably should wait one more week, but too late. If you're keeping count, this is show number 51 that survived in the archive. Some of those early ones were so bad, I didn't even want to save them for posterity. I looked at some of the numbers. We're a little light on where we were a year ago, but about 3,000 unique viewers over the last year. So to all of you, eep, op, ork, ah, ah. This one. I know, I'll get you all in just a second. I got so much stuff to talk about. First and foremost, if you are new to our little world here, we've got a Discord server, and I have just posted the invitation in the chat feed. Come on over, talk tech. We've got all kinds of tech sub-channels over there. If you ever want to get in contact with me, if I'm awake and the lights are on, my computer's on, and I'm logged into Discord, several of them, and you can PM me, DM me anytime, and I will get your massage instantaneously. But if you would like to communicate with me in a more private fashion, there are 2 email addresses I've just posted into Lush Chat. I almost did a French slur there. You French speakers know what I almost did. All right. So let's see who's here, what you're doing, what you've got to say, and continue on our merry way till it turns up right after I created this show. I'm so behind this week. So much to do that I didn't get around to making the show till setting it up on the YouTube channel till about 6 hours ago, something like that. So welcome Tulowit early as always, and then half an hour early another check-in, followed 20 minutes later by Patricia Grace. Hey, thanks for being able to make it live, Patricia. I know you've been having to miss some, and you don't have to, right? Attendance is not mandatory here. If you feel like watching it later, cool beans, and if you don't, hey, you know, it's just a handful of folks who get together and shoot the breeze. Patricia pointed out something unfortunate about last week's show. As somebody pointed out on the show, probably Tulowit, I had my super secret code up for pre-search on screen, and I thought, well, I'll blur that after the show. And I have edited YouTube shows in the past, and when you cut things out of them, that wipes out the chat feed. But I thought that doing a blur, since I wasn't adding time or taking away time, that wouldn't be the case. Patricia pointed out that it was, in fact, the case. So there is no preserved chat feed from last week. Sorry. Delivery just arrived, says Tulowit. So I'm getting the word from all of the winners. I haven't heard from everybody yet, but I have heard from many of you who have received your swag from the anniversary show. It wasn't a contest, but whatever, it was a giveaway. And so I'm glad you're getting them. Enjoy them. Do have fun. And if you had projects, questions, whatever in mind, you know, let's come over. We'll talk it over on the Discord server and have a little fun. I beg your pardon. I thought I was done with that. Man, I was getting so close, but not. Hiya. Jason Helms, amongst the living. What's up, everyone? Jason, you've been busy online of late. Seen a lot of you, and that's a good thing. By Crapthar's hammer. We all seem to use that. Tulowit is, if I remember way back when, in the days of the show, and then to a lesser extent on drama, the first person to throw out Grabthar twists was Tulowit. I don't think it was I love By Grabthar's hammer. There's so much you can do with that. Patricia, I am stuffed after a pasta dinner, settling in to watch the remainder of some inexpensive Sauvignon Blanc white from the Sauvignon region. Very good. Oh my gosh, Scott Jernigan is here. More part of the busyness this week. I was in an online webinar and kicked off a quick note to Scott, which apparently I had done sometime earlier. Hey, are you watching this thing? And next thing you know, there's Scott, and he and I are commenting on the webinar on our own little back channel. It was, well, I'll tell you what it was. We got a sneak peek at the CompTIA, the upcoming new CompTIA Network Plus exam objectives, N10009. I don't know how NDA'd we are. I don't recall signing an NDA, but I will offer this tidbit to you. This stunned both Scott and I. The retirement date and the introduction date are not what we expected. Things are happening much faster than they have in the past. So, brave knight, if you do doubt your courage or your strength and you want to pursue N10008 certification, it's not a super rush, but you don't have as much time as you thought you did. So glad to see you, Scott. Thank you. Tulowit and everybody checking in with each other. It's a good thing. The CompTIA Network webinar on Network Plus. There we go. We are not NDA'd at all. Okay. May. New introduction will be in May for N10009. And almost precisely 6 months later, they will kill N10008 in December. So, yeah. 2024 is the last of N10008. And the way they're talking, they're going to be a little more compliant with their original plans and goals about the life length of introduced products. So they've had to extend some of them because of school years and because of COVID and the delays that happened from that. That's all behind them now. They want to get back on the original schedule. So 3 years for the next release after that, 6-month overlap for the old one, and that's it. So some of these we saw go 9 months. Some of them were a little less, but well over 6. So, yes, it is that time already. I beg your pardon. All right. So what do we got here? You know, I'm sitting here with this dang slideshow up. Sorry about that. I'll get there in a sec. The first slide of the show was just a reminder of last week's show. We learned about Presearch, the distributed node search engine, and talked about how it works internally and procedurally, and then how you could create your own distributed search engine. It's really easy. All you need, I'm gonna get off this slide. All you need to do is install Docker on your favorite platform: Linux x86, Linux on Raspberry Pi, Windows, Mac, and then you install the appropriate Docker image into there. There's only one side step in there. You've got to go log in and make an account over at Presearch and get your code, and that goes in the Docker script. But buzzing right along. I didn't look to see how mine is doing. It doesn't grow rapidly, at least mine doesn't, and that's okay. I forgive myself. Where are? Oops, not that one. This one. We'll refresh the page, and I have had one failed search out of all of my search systems that have come, which haven't been many. I don't know if this is good, if this is common, or what it means, but I have had 74 search requests delivered to my little Raspberry Pi, and it has successfully adjudicated all but one, 73 of them. And when my one miss happened a few days ago, it dropped my reliability score from 75 to 72. I don't know if that's significant, but it's back up to 76 with these successes, so cool. I don't have a slide for today's show because I don't have a show today. There was just no time to do effective prep. I had one. I looked at it and said, oh, you know what? That's a good show to do on Monday night. Monday was the only day that I didn't have a major commitment that pulls me out of the office, the house, or whatever. And so I said, I'm going to work on this on Monday, and that'll be the show. And I started working on it and said, this is awful. This is awful. I cannot do this as a show. So I abandoned it and tried to look around for something that I could do in a timely fashion in between all of the other things that happened this week. Nothing, so no show. I do have a really nice show on tap next week, and we've got a lot of really great stuff going on over the next 6 or 7 weeks. It's good stuff. Hey, on this date, this is, again, March 7th. Oh, gosh, we got the Ides of March coming up. And, of course, we've got St. Patty's Day coming up. But on this date, in the year 321, Roman Emperor Constantine issued a decree. I'm going to work on my Roman here. The Dies, D-I-E-S, Dies Solis Invicti, which is the day of sun, or Sunday, shall be a day of rest in the Roman Empire. There you go. It's not the first one to come up with that thought. It kind of came up about 300 years prior, or 6,000 years, depending on whatever, 10,000, but you get the idea. So it's an interesting decree. So let's talk about upcoming shows. I still have not locked down a guest host for the show 2 weeks from today, March 21st. If I do, there will be a show. If I don't, I'll let you know a few days in advance that there won't be a show, and you can have a day of rest. I will. I will be traveling, and I'm not going to drag a studio along. And where I'm traveling, it would be difficult to put one together and meet all my commitments during that travel. So letting that go. March 14th, 1 week from today, we just got a confirmation of a guest, the folks from Snaju. I've mentioned them a couple times, and I'm not going to beleaguer it too much. I don't know who from their organization is going to be their chief, their management, some I don't know who. I don't know how many, but there are a couple folks that I've worked directly with there, communicated a lot with. Hope they both come on, Zach and Adam. But we'll see what happens after that. And week after that's 21st. We'll see what happens. Week after that, March 28th, show topic, because Snaju is going to take up the entire show. You guys are going to want to hear from them, so I'm not going to do a project. So show project on March 28th is going to be globbing. That's such a good word, and it's such a good thing. You've done globbing. Many of you have done globbing. If you've ever done a search with wild cards, asterisks, or question marks, which you do in Windows, the results are a glob. You have globbed files. There is so much more that you can do in a Linux window, and probably in a PowerScript window, but I haven't tested that yet. That's going to be globbing. And then for the second part of the show, we have a guest on, Laura Tate, a woman entrepreneur in the PC support world. She runs a support company for PCs called PC Wizard, and she's going to talk to us about what she had to do to start the business, and how she studied, and what she learned, and how she gets customers, and what's it like being a lady in a man's world. That's such crap. Sorry. She is not a lady in a man's world. She is a competent PC supporter in her world, and really enjoy talking to her. So you do that. A couple of weeks of regular shows scheduled after that, and then April 18th, a guest, Greg Sowell, Sowell. I will talk a little bit about him in just a couple of seconds. All right, let's check and see what's going on here, and then we'll come back and do what happened this week. Beg your pardon. Okay, we're not NDA'd. That's like the most awesome way to set me up, Scott. Scott says we're not an aid. Okay, Dave's NDA'd. So Dave spills everything, and oh, sorry, set you up, dude. You can't say any of that. You'll never be certified again. Will the 3-year be the same as far as renewal? I have heard nothing that reflects a change in that policy. And there you go. Scott says the same thing. Yes, certification is valid for 3 years after successful completion. And FYI, says Tullowit, I was surprised and pleased to see that on the TS YouTube channel, there's a playlist called Dave Rush Live Raspberry Pi. That's still there, huh? I know they pulled down the Shorts channel. Whatever. Good for them. Thanks, Scott. I read my mind. All right, what else is going on this week? This is all personal crap, but it's stuff you'll like, most of it anyways. Tomorrow, after a year's worth of work in and out of dentist and surgical oral surgeon chairs, I get a tooth. I get a new tooth tomorrow, and that takes care of all the surgical stuff. Now I've got another year of coughing up funds to the dentist. They've ordered a second pool for the work. I'm going to do the Invisalign thing and get whitened while we do that. Hollywood, here I come. That's all I got to say. The missus and I hosted our son as he came into town, and he bailed out on Sunday afternoon or so, and we hightailed it to the theater to see Dune Part 2. No spoilers. Wow, if you didn't see the new Dune Part 1, I saw it, I loved it, and I hated it. Because I was expecting a remake of the 1984 Dune, which went through about 3 books. They shortened it up. Book 3 didn't get a lot of attention, but they went through about a third of the original movie. And I thought, okay, well, I see where they're going with that. And now I got to wait 2 years to see another cut of it. So I went in here. I didn't look at how long the film was. Take a bio break before you sit down for that one. That's what I'm going to tell you. 2 times this week, without asking for it, people looked at me and said, "Oh, you get the senior discount." So I've killed them both. By the way, my wife pushes that. She'll ask. We'll go someplace. She points at me and he gets the senior discount, right? So, you know, if you hear anything about a missing wife in Spring, Texas, there may be a motive. Do I care about that? Nah. Let's bring up a slide. I like slides. Oh, okay, that's a good slide. So I was at a conference yesterday called the HPC Energy Conference. HPC, High Performance Computing. Bunch of computers working together. We've done an HPC project in here with Raspberries back in the drama days. We got 2 or 3 or 4. I think I had 5 at one point. A cluster computing, right? That's HPC. And so a lot of HPC vendors and support product vendors came to this conference to present their wares to the energy industry, which is what Houston is all about. And I used to do a lot of conferences, and it was either work on a booth or, you know, maybe go and see 1 or 2 that I was particularly interested in. And as you can see, this is Krista from CIQ Rocky. Krista has 2 jobs over there these days. She is handles documentation, and she is the, I won't get her title correct. Forgive me, Krista, if you watch this. But she is heading up community involvement, right? Getting the SIGs working together, the special interest groups, getting word out in part marketing. She wears a lot of hats. And I was the only one there wearing Rocky regalia. Now, I'd gone over there to talk to them. Of course, they were there first, and that was my primary reason for going there. There was a lot of people that I have met and known online, and wanted to get some FaceTime with everybody. So I went over there, and Krista says, "Hey, we've got a new contest we're going to start next week. Put on your regalia and take a picture of yourself and send it in." She said, "You're the first entry." And so we did a little selfie there. And, so what I did differently at this conference than I've ever done at any other conference is there was 30, 40 vendors, give or take. I didn't count them all. And I stopped at almost every booth to learn about their offering, to talk with their people, and to see if they had anything interesting that they wanted to share on the show, or if I thought it was interesting, or thought that you would think it's interesting. I got a ton of yeses. Oh my gosh. And I told them the truth. You know, our show, we don't get a lot of live participation on day one, but it grows over time, and we get plenty of viewers over the course of a year. So yeah, tons of viewers, and I've already locked up a couple, and we will do muchly more. And I've got another conference coming up in April 12th up in Austin. It's a Linux conference, not HPC, the Texas Linux Fest. And so definitely going over there and doing the same thing. Going to hit a lot of booths, talk to the Rocky people again. They're going to be there. and should be just a ton of fun. I want to tell you about one of the folks I met. He's ready, willing, and able to talk to us, but I want to set it up because, again, I learned so much. You know about GPUs? You know about APUs? You know about CPUs? Probably. Certainly heard of most of them. APU's a dead term. How about a DPU? It stands for data processing unit, and okay, that's what it is. This is built into storage arrays to do some level of data processing before data processors get their hands on it, before data scientists get it. It pre-categorizes on metadata, and it does all kinds of amazing things. So that's some just a tip of the iceberg of new terms and things that I've learned about new technologies. Anyways, I was over at some booth, and I went over to, just to say hi and learn about them. And there was a conference goer, somebody who didn't run a booth, who was talking to them also. And, here, excuse me, no, you continue. If you don't mind, I'll listen. Maybe I'll learn something. And the booth goers, it turns out they were the ones getting the lesson from this person. His name is Christian with a K, and he's from Iceland. And Christian was there to talk about Iceland. But he didn't have a booth to do it. Maybe he did. I'm all confused about it because I just sat there and shot the breeze with him for 20, 30 minutes because Iceland is amazing. What, in the HPC circles? How does that fit? I said. And he said, well, look, here's the thing that everybody knows about Iceland. We have thermal energy. We've got steam coming out our ears, and we capture it and we pipe it through turbines and we make electricity, and all of the island nation's electricity comes from thermal underground activity. The infrastructure is not free, but the energy itself is. And, until the earth goes cold, it's unlimited, right? Now, notwithstanding the recent quake activity they've had there, but okay. So what is the significance of this? I kind of had the answer in my head, but I wanted to hear it. And he said, well, look, if you consider how much energy a data center consumes just to run things like air conditioners and the units themselves and wouldn't we be a great place to host data centers? And he said, we need a couple of things. We need more lines, more bandwidth capacity coming into and out of the island. Okay. So he was there to promote. And he said, but wait, there's more. He said, we have, of course, I asked him about, what's going on there as far as, do you have a lot of data centers? He said, we have some. We want many more. We think we can do much more. And he said, we keep them up north. And I jumped on the obvious, and I got it right, but there was more to it than that. He said, look, if you keep them down south, they are potentially impacted by the seismic activity. Okay. And then I looked at him and I said, wait a minute, up north, it's colder up north than it is down south. And down south can get pretty darn cold too. He said, absolutely. So we just pipe the cold air in. Obviously, we have to augment it with air conditioning and things like that. But wow, what a great natural resource to serve as a host for high energy consumption, high heat production stuff. I was listening with people today who told me, maybe I learned this yesterday. Yeah, I did. The energy consumption on an AI trainer, 50% of the energy consumption total bill goes toward cooling. So if it costs you $100 to run the equipment per hour, it's another $50 per hour to run a cooling solution. So if you can cut down on both of those costs, good stuff, huh? All right, two more quickie little newsy things here. Again, I got nothing coming up the second half, so we can drag things out and just talk about anything you feel like it. That was the man from Iceland, Christian, cool guy. I took a class 2 weeks ago, week ago, February 28th, on Ascender. I mentioned it on the show last week. It's an IAC, an infrastructure as code, right? Like, sorry, my screen lets me see occasionally the last message that got posted. I'll get back to that. Infrastructure as code. That means using a program to configure and change and modify routers, hosts, switches, whatever. So you create a script and operate it out of this machine, and it handles all of the machines that you want. And this particular product is called Ascender. It sort of takes IAC to the next level. It has the ability to inventory what's in a given system and then react accordingly. Oh, this one's okay. This one's an exception. This one needs to be updated. And it can do that on 2 million hosts simultaneously in the same time that it could do one host. So magic. So I've heard a lot about this product from the vendors, and I was sold on it being a good product, but I got invited to participate in the class, and it was a day-long class. Wow. Okay. I'm not just a believer, I'm a convert. And it was conducted by two guys from Rocky CIQ, Greg Soul, whose name you heard me mention, and Jimmy C. He just goes by Jimmy C. Both amazing, incredible, technical developers, gurus, SMEs, presenters. They're the whole package. They got word on the body count 48 hours before class, and they got access to AWS environments that same 48 hours prior. And over the course of 48 hours, they built 120 virtual machines for all of us to do all of our labs. Stunning, amazing. So anyways, Greg and Jimmy were both at the show this week, and I'd spoken with them, with Greg at any rate, and said, hey, what do you... I've never wanted to impose on him. He's an amazing guy, an amazing presenter. He's got his fingers in almost every pie at Rocky, and so I would never consider imposing on him. But we were shooting the breeze, and he said, oh, you know what? My first love is podcasting. I used to do it forever. I kind of got burned out on it, but by the time I joined up with Rocky, when they do the little internal company survey that says what's the one job that you would just die for and kill for, I want to podcast again. I said, oh, well, in that case, let me invite you. I'm sure that you'll use this as a launch pad to go restart podcasting again, but hey, why don't you kick off by joining our show? Absolutely, he said. So we have gone back and forth over the last day, and we've got the date nailed down, and you're going to love him. We haven't even figured out what we're going to do, what he's going to do on the show, but it's good stuff. Hey, Kickstarter. You guys like the Kickstarter stuff? I've funded or participated in a couple of Kickstarter projects, and this is one that I got involved with, that I funded a couple of weeks ago. I know you can't see it very well, but this is from Vilros, who's a regular real vendor, and I was very surprised. I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago that they used Kickstarter to develop a new product, as opposed to using their own internal funding. But you got to get money where you can. That's kind of sort of, you can see that. What this is a housing for a Pi Zero W, with or without headers, that brings all the connectors out to regular size and regular dimensions and easy access in a case. So I've got one sitting here with my name on it. It just came in a couple days ago, and that was like the fastest turn I have ever seen on a Kickstarter project. I have been... We talked about compute module carriers a few weeks ago. And I told you at that time that, it was time for me to get involved, to get a CM4 and see what we can do with it. And I have been on the hunt for the right model in the right budget since that day. I found it about 4 days ago and ordered it. So we will have a compute module project or more coming up. There are 5 million compute module version 4s out in the wild right now, and Raspberry Pi has announced that they will continue supporting them through 2031. All right, last bit of personal news, and we'll check back in with you guys, and then we'll do the tech news of the week. There's some neat stuff. Some of you saw on the old shows, the shows, and I had him on my show, on Drama, you have seen and met Michael Smyer. Absolutely brilliant man, knowledgeable in so many areas, technical like you can't believe, codes, so much. I won't even have time to extol all of his virtues. He is about to become Mr. Michael Smyer. And you say, well, you know, everybody has that title. My nephew, who's 4 years old, is Mr. No. Mr. Michael Smyer becomes Mr. Michael Smyer on Saturday because there will be a new Mrs. Smyer on Saturday. Michael Smyer, our good friend, is getting married this weekend. I'm going to work his wedding as a DJ. And cannot wait. I'll get pictures and share them with you. Should be interesting. I wonder what he looks like in a tux. We talked today, and we're going to talk again after the show just for some final adjustments and things like that. But yeah, mazel tov. All right, so let's see what's going on with everybody here while I've been doing that yammering. I see something there. That's cool. All right, I'm picking it up at 13 minutes past the show with messages. Thank you for the tooth, Patricia. And then the message retraction. I've begun to be offered senior discounts. ARP crap in the mail. I've been getting ARP crap in the mail for 10 years. And the old man and I share a name. And of course, with all the estate crap, lots of stuff comes to me/him these days. I never know what to do. Sooner or later, it's going to be for real. Trisha thought about getting the free trunk pack, then canceling. It's sort of like the old Columbia House music. You can get 13 tapes for a penny. Okay. AMAC link. There we go. Yeah, if I have to join one of those, I too will go AMAC, not ARP. ARP did something during the Obama administration that was so insane. I don't care about your politics, but what they did was so insanely self-serving and profitable to themselves that I just said, nope, never, not my cup of mud. AMAC. I am an American mature adult, something like that. Thought about getting the, okay, we did that. AMAC link is in the Batcave. Thank you. Rocky, I love Rocky. Reikai. We'll use the Roman pronunciation. Yes. Michael Smyer, super genius. Super genius. Congrats. I will pass along your nice words to him. Is Michael still with TS? Michael is still with TS. All right, well, let me do a little tech news. I just got 4 tech newses. Okay, the following slide may be a little disturbing. You have been warned. Turn your speakers and monitor off for the next 2 minutes if you can't handle a disturbing image. You think I'm kidding? I am not kidding. This is going to knock you out. Why is he showing me that, you ask? I know. All right, let me go to my notes and answer that question. The title of this slide is Frostbite because the FDA approved the first medication to treat severe frostbite. Interestingly, the treatment for severe frostbite is a vasodilator. And the most common first effort is aspirin. right? They want to get your blood vessels open and start healing wherever you're frostbitten, basically from the back forward, because the forward is all cut off, but hopefully they can do that. And then what they do is after a week's treatment, then they do a bone scan and make a prognosis. Will there be sufficient healing that you get to keep your appendages, or they make the determination right then. I see my system hiccuping. There we go. That nope, you're not going to heal. You're going to lose it. And so the FDA has approved a new vasodilator drug, Iloprest, I don't know, to treat severe frostbite in adults to reduce the loss or the risk of finger or toe amputation. And I'm not going to read all this junk to you, but I do want to read this part of it. The most recent test was 100% positive. How's that? So that's a good thing. So what they did is they took a group of people and they broke them up into 3 groups of patients. One of them got the new drug. One group got the new drug. 0% prognosis of amputation after 7 days of treatment. The second group was got the alternative treatment, the previous treatment. 19% of those prognosis loss. And the third group was a control group. 60, so no treatment. We're going to watch you for 7 days. If things don't go well, we'll take care of it, and hopefully some of you will naturally self-heal. And some people do naturally do self-heal. In fact, 60% of group 3 had a loss prognosis, so 40%, okay, keep going, you'll be all right. Wouldn't that tick you off if you're in group 2 or group 3 and you know what? I know about control groups and I know about science and I know about experiments. I want the real stuff. I don't want you staring at my blackened toe for a week and then tell 6 out of 10 of us that we're going to lose our toes when 0% of the people who got the new experimental drug. Skip the science, skip the experiment, put everybody on this new thing. I know. I shouldn't laugh. I'm certainly not laughing at their misfortune. That's horrible. Ente. I think that's how it's pronounced. E-N-T-E. If you are into photography, storage and management of electronic images, you will know this name. If you're not into it, you won't. It's a cloud-based photo app, and last week, on March 3rd, this week, they went fully open source. You can set it up on your own machine at the house and have all of the lovely benefits of Ente, including sharing it with others, and it's encrypted, and it provides login, and it's cool. Bottom line, I'm not going to dive into that anymore. Full stack of tools, mobile, web, desktop clients, server, command line interface. You get all the apps with that. So put simply, you get the same technology the company has always offered in its paid cloud service, which has been tested and trusted with millions of customers, photos, and videos. And the company thinks that this will be particularly useful for many individuals, from curious future founders to self-hosting enthusiasts, and got to agree. Here is some news. Oh, I see what happened there. Okay. It took about 33 years for desktop Linux to grow to a market share of 3%. In the last 8 months, it has moved from 3% to 4%. That's unbelievably fast. And there's a lot of analysts out there trying to explain why, and I've seen so many explanations that I'm not going to share any of them with you. But will it ever be a mainstream operating system? No. According to Linus Torvalds, he says simply because there's too many distros. It's not like Windows where there's basically one distro. It's got some flavors. It's not like Mac where there's one flavor, one distro. So because of all the variation, we're not going to see the kind of conglomeration that we see with Mac and Windows. And of course, and this doesn't count Android and other things. This is desktop Linux, but that's huge. That's huge. In 8 months, it went from 3% that took 33 years to get to 4%. Very easy to look up if you want more details on the story. Last tech news of the day. Patricia Grace in particular for this one, but lots of other people. Linux Mint has introduced a new support app called Jargonaut. If you're me, if you're you, and you play in the Linux world and you want support, you got to go to their website, the site that the flavor of Linux that you're playing with, and find the support forums, the communicate with others, the contact the devs, and they're smeared all over the place. And Mint says, we're done with that. First of all, we're going to get rid of the tool that we used to allow you to use in all those disparate modalities. They have a product that they've included called XChat. So they are dumping XChat because they've got an alternative and because the devs of the guts of XChat have closed development of it. So that's another good reason to get rid of it. And they have created this new app called Jargonaut, a single app that provides simple menu access to devs, to forums, to other users. And they unveiled it this week. We'll see that probably come out in the next release of Linux Mint, if not before the next release. There's tons of tech news this week. Again, there was a time crunch. I didn't get some of that. And frankly, I looked it all over today and said, don't want to include that. Don't want to include that. Speculation is interesting, but so. No 3.5 audio jack on the Pi 5. I didn't know that. I take your word for it. I'll whip out my Pi 5 here. One of my Pi 5s right after the show and look at that. All right, what do we else got going on here? Did you see? 10 reasons why Kirk is better than Picard. And reason number 1 was hair. Reason number 2, somewhere up there or down there, shirt off. You occasionally see Picard with shirt off. 2/3 of the shows, Shatner had his shirt off. What was number 10? Oh, Kirk can beat a Vulcan at chess. If you look up 10 reasons why Kirk is better than Picard, you'll see this list all over the place. All right. That's everything that I had to cover today. So what are you guys thinking? What have you been up to? What tech has interested you or captured your attention? And whilst I slide back here and catch up on messages, he had a hoof. Poor guy. Puppy pads. Something to be soft, right? You know the old thing, right? Everybody says, I don't know, I take this to as apocryphal, if not true, that if you lose your big toe, and especially if you lose both your big toes, you get to effectively learn to walk again. It's such a big part of our balance. The minor toes, apparently not quite so serious. Can't imagine losing my feet or any other part. Amen. Actually, just read a story about amputations from frostbite. Large number of fans who suffered frostbite at the Chiefs-Dolphins game need amputations. Wow. I got something to read now. Thank you. Getting into astrophotography. Tullowit invited somebody over to, a young person, over to our Discord server, who is big into astrophotography. So Tolwood made a new channel for it, and I've done a little bit of it, some with Raspberry Pi and some with camera. And so we started populating it. If you have any interest in this, any knowledge in it, come on over to the Discord server and help us out. Teach us. Add your own stuff to it. I will put the link up again. Here's the link for ye old Discord server. And while I'm at it, since it's always in the same area, I'll put my contact info. If for some insane reason you ever want to communicate with moi. Okay, so let's see what you're saying about this. I read sentence number 1 and then rolled right along here. I'm getting into astrophotography slowly. I'm still in shock at the startup cost. Was no kidding about that. But you've got a Raspberry Pi 4 now. You don't need a Pi Noir to do this, the night camera, because you do long exposures. So you can pick up a Pi camera for the Pi 4 for between $5 and $20. And that and a couple of tie wraps will take care of it. So the only thing you need is a telescope with an eyepiece. And one of the things we learned a lot about doing ours is we have a wood deck porch, and you got to set the camera to go either, cyclic once every 10 seconds or something like that, but you cannot manually trigger it standing there because the microscopic little vibrations of the deck just destroy the image. So I would set something like, okay, do a shot in 10 seconds, and then I would step off the deck, wait the 10 seconds, and then go in and do another shot. So reading messages here, getting into Jason Helms, I'm guessing several grand. Yeah, it's all about how much you're willing to spend. I'm talking to Tullowit. He needs to build an observatory or go borrow one of the ones from up on. I heard somebody on the news talking about Hilo today, which is the way I've always heard it pronounced, and they called it Hilo. Tullowit, who lives there, number 1, Hilo. Number 2, Hilo. Which is the correct local pronunciation? Number 1, Hilo. Number 2, Hilo. The world waits. Hoping to go mirrorless. Okay. Yep, that helps. Well, if you use the Pi Cam, you can purchase 3D printed a little insert. It goes in the back of it, and it just drops down into the eyepiece. And whether you're mirrorless or not, well, that doesn't matter. You're not mirrorless. It's all electronic, but by definition, it's mirrorless. So sure. So our Pi 5 not going to have an audio. I'm doing that. Got to dive into that. I have all Canons here except for some Lumix stuff. Michael uses Nikons and wouldn't dream of switching. I'd use a Nikon. I guess budget controls my life. Mirrorless, yep. Most of the major names are dropping mirrored cameras. So anything that you buy from a major name starting mid last year is mirrorless. They're not doing mirrors anymore. Mirrors were only necessary when we were dealing with film and we had to look through the viewfinder and lift the mirror out of the way. And I think the story in ADRAMADA. I'll link it. Okay, thank you. First 2 toes are the most important, if I had to guess. I'll buy that. Oh, you got a Pi 3? That's okay. It works. I did mine with Pi 3. That was before Pi 4 came out. Hilo. Yay. So my go to Hilo in a Hilo joke is valid. All Hawaiian vowels are just like the Spanish. Okay. I was looking at Lumix cameras. I got a GH3 here, and I just missed a GH4. A 4 or a 5. Now, I look at it from the perspective of studio. So they're one of the few that's affordable and has clean HDMI out. And, of course, I got a Blackmagic in the studio, and that's my second studio cam. These are all webcams. I'm looking at 4 webcams here. No, they're not all active right now. Well, anything else, or do we want to finish 5 minutes early? I can do that. I got nothing else in the news. Did I have anything here on this page? There was something that struck me. Nothing worthwhile. I do have a Blackmagic camera. I have the original Blackmagic Pocket BMPCC. It's just HD, 1920 by 1080. But it's a lovely studio camera. I really enjoy shooting with that thing because it's as plug and play as you go. And of course, the original BMPCCs are so affordable right now. You're not getting an 8K or a 6K. Oh, I heard a spoof this morning on We Are the World, and so I started to translate what Jason said here. Before we came, the world couldn't handle all the angles. Before we came, the world couldn't handle all the angles. Very good. All right, well, what do you say we wind this thing up then? Next week is the guest from Snaju. No project, no topic. I do have this globbing topic coming up. It won't be on the 21st. Either the 21st has no show or I get a sub. Maybe there's somebody on here watching right now who would change their mind and say, okay, Dave, I'll sub for the show. It'd be good practice for some of the other stuff I'm getting into. You know, just saying. But if not, I completely understand. So, review. Next week, Snaju. The week after that, it's up in the air. The week after that, Globbing and Laura Tate. Regular shows so far early in April. First 2 or 3 shows. And then April 18th, Greg Soul. Wow, what a... You're going to be bowled over. And you're going to love his appearance. Look him up. Greg, Sowell. He looks like all the pictures that he has online. He has an unforgettable face. Once you've seen him once, you will never miss him. All right, well, anything else? Oh, I got to do this. Something I've learned, finally. If I do this in advance, things happen so much more smoothly. You'll do the show. Fine. Hey, one of you guys wants to do a show next week for me? Or on the 21st? That'd be awesome. Content is completely up to you. Format is up to you. Kill an hour between 7 my time and 8 my time. And I'll give you the keys to the kingdom here. And hey, send me a note sometime tomorrow or thereafter. And we will talk about it. That would be awesome. We got time change coming up. It's spring, right? We're going to spring forward. So, yeah, I guess we do. All right. Let me post this thing then and do the bye-byes. So, good evening. I wish you all a great rest of the week. Take care of each other. Take serious steps to stay healthy. And if all possible, call or visit your parents. And never forget, technology is great, but the greatest resource we have are you and I. And with that, good night. I'll see you on ADRAMADA next Thursday. And on the other platforms that I'm on. Until then, remember, how you do anything is how you do everything. Eep, op, ork, ah, ah.